Street portraits are all about subtlety. Now, this image was captured in the back streets of Hoi An in Vietnam, and at first glance it looked a little flat, but with just a few gentle edits it comes to life. And I'll even take it one step further into black and white. Let's see where this edit leads. Welcome back, everyone. For context, this was shot on a Canon 5 DSLR with a 70-200 f2.8 lens. Now, the light was soft and overcast, but the way it hit her hat and face really appealed to me, and I could see that it had the potential to make a really good image. Now, when I came to edit the shot, I realized that it would only need very simple, very subtle adjustments. A little bit of cropping, balancing the highlights, lifting the shadows, and a touch of masking. And that would make all the difference to this portrait. So let's head into Lightroom and get started. So the image we're going to work on today is of this lady that I captured in the back streets of Hoi An in Vietnam. Now, just walking through the back streets, I came across this lady and I thought she made an intriguing portrait with the way the light was falling on her hat. It was an overcast day. So let's see what we can do with this particular shot if we take it into the develop module. The first thing I'm probably going to want to do is crop it. So before we start anything, I'm just going to crop down to where I want the viewer to look. This was taken on a 5 DSLR with a 70-200 2.8 L lens. Let's just crop to about there. I think that's probably more where I'm looking. Having done that, we'll come back to our white balance. I'm going to change this at the end because I may even take this image to black and white. We'll see. But the first thing I want to do is just overall give it a bit more brightness and just bring out the lady a little bit more. A little bit of contrast. And I'm going to drop the highlights back. So I've got obviously a blown highlight in the hat, which I want to pull back. If I look at my histogram, it's actually not blown, but I do want to sort of drop back the highlight on the hat anyway. So let's just drop that back. I'm going to raise the shadows. So taking the shadows up to around about 25 odd points. I'm going to push my whites and pull my blacks as usual. That gives me more contrast in the image. And we can already see that we've just started to make it just that little bit more punchy. Now let's raise the mid-tone contrast, which is the clarity slider, just to give the image a little bit more bite. And then coming down, now it was shot at ISO 200, so there's really no noise that I need to worry about in this image. As with every image you shoot, there is noise inherent in any image, even at base ISO of 50 or 100, but it's certainly not going to be noticeable. I do want to sharpen the image here, so we grab our masking slider, hold down the Option or Alt key, drag across, and we see that where it's white, that's where it's going to be sharpened, and black, obviously, there's going to be no sharpening applied. So that's about right. Let's pull the sharpening up to about 80 points. That's my go-to sort of standard sharpening, which allows me to have options when it comes to output. Now, I'm going to click on the lens correction tab, remove chromatic aberration, and enable profile corrections there. It knows I've used the 70-200 2.8 lens. It has brightened the image a little bit, and it's changed the distortion that's inherent in that lens. You can just see it's made a fair difference there. And I have cropped it, and I do want to drag my viewer's eye into the lady in the center of the frame. So let's drag that highlight priority vignetting slider back and just bring the eye in on her more. So those are my sort of overall adjustments to start me off. Now it comes down to the masking tab. So we're going to come up to masking. And the first thing that I want to do is I really want to work on her face. So we're going to grab her facial skin. There is no body skin. Her hands are completely covered. Let's just get her lips there and create a mask. Now, having done that, we're going to brighten it. So let's just bring that out there. And that's made quite a difference. You can see if I do a before and after there, it has brightened her face considerably. And now we can actually start to see the shape of her nose. And that's really what I'm after there. Now, my next mask is going to be selecting objects, and that's the hat. What I want to do here is I really want to drop back the brightness in the hat. Now, we looked at the histogram earlier, and we could see that it wasn't actually blown out, but it does draw the eye away a little bit too much. So let's drop that back, and yeah, that's looking better. I'm going to push the whites a little, drop back the blacks. And yeah, that's not bad. If we just do a before and after there, you can see that it sort of softens the hat down so that we don't look at it as much, and we do see the lady's face more. I probably will bring that back up a little. I've probably taken it a little bit too far there, but that's about right. Now, the last mask I want to do is I want to add a little bit more light to this area, to her chest and to her face. And I can do that with the brush tool because I'm going to be fairly subtle with it. So click on K for the brush tool, and I'm just going to drag over this area and just her face there. Let's just brighten that a little bit and just see. That draws the eye in even more. It's subtle, but that's what this image demands, a subtle fix. Now, there is a little bit of bleed out past her face there. I'll subtract that with the brush, just very, very gently. Let's make that brush come in a little bit more here. That's better. So now, that's it. That's exactly what I'm after. It draws the eye in even more. So coming back to the overall processing tab, let's do a quick before and after there to see how far we've taken this image. And you can see that it's gone quite nicely there. It's given me a bit of crunch. It's made the image more dynamic. My eye is drawn to her face and not the hat and her shoulder. And I think that's pretty good. That's where I'm liking that look. So that's the before and after with this image. Now you'll notice that I didn't actually touch the white balance, but I might just in this instance draw a little bit more blue into the image, just cooling it off very slightly, and I think that gives an interesting effect also. Now I could take this a little bit further from this point and turn it into a black and white. I think I might actually do that. Let's go black and white here, and you can go with just the Adobe Monochrome or the adaptive black and white. I'm just going to stick with the standard Adobe Monochrome at the moment. And I think that just gives it a slightly more interesting feel than perhaps the color version. I will make a few subtle adjustments here, though. I'm going to drag the blacks back a little bit more. I like my black and whites to be fairly punchy. I'm going to drop my highlights back a little bit more as well. And I may revisit my facial mask here, which is the first mask we created. I'm just going to increase the exposure there just a little bit and drop the blacks back and bring up the whites a little bit more to just better match the black and white interpretation here. So I think that's not bad. We'll come back to the overall processing tab. And yeah, that's pretty good. I think a little bit more clarity, but other than that, I'm probably just fine-tuning more than I need to. That's the before and after now with the black and white image. And just as it is, I think that's quite interesting. I'd be really interested to know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you prefer the color image or do you prefer the black and white? I think in this instance, I personally prefer the black and white, but I'd really be interested to know what you think. So do let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, I think that's that image done. So that's the edit from a subtle but strong color version through to a punchier black and white. Now, personally, I lean towards the monochrome here, but as I mentioned, I'd love to hear what you think. Now, if you are planning on visiting Hoi An or Vietnam in general, and I really think you should, then here's 5 quick tips which should help you with your travels. Tip number 1, the best time to visit. Well, February to April brings warm days and lower humidity, which is perfect for wandering the lantern-filled streets. Although I have to say I visited in August and it was still pretty comfortable. Now, tip number 2, getting around. Well, Hoi An is a walking and cycling town, really. You can rent a bicycle to explore the old town and the nearby rice fields at your own pace, or you can simply enjoy wandering the streets on foot with, of course, your camera in your hands. Now, tip number 3, what do you eat when you're there? Well, you have to try their khao lao, which is Hoi An's signature noodle dish. White rose dumplings, and of course Vietnam's incredible street-side coffee. Now, wherever you go in Vietnam, you must also try the spring rolls. They're just that little bit different and so much better than what I personally can get back here at home. Now, tip number 4 is other things to see. Well, don't miss the Japanese covered bridge. The Central Market is great for photography, and if you're there in the evening, the lantern-lit Tu Bon River. Also, if it rains when you're there, then do look out for some interesting reflection shots of the lanterns at night. But that's for another video. And the last tip is just a practical tip. Bring cash. Many of the small shops, the food stalls and the tailors don't accept cards. I mean, some do, but obviously the one you want to buy from will probably be the one that doesn't. Now, if you enjoyed this edit, please hit like. It really helps the channel. Subscribe for more one-image edits and travel photo stories, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. Thank you for watching. Safe travels, and as always, keep shooting.